Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk about Infobility, and that's sharing information on disability issues. We're with the founder right now, Susan Schaefer. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And also Melissa Coker, you are a home health aide. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Exactly what is Infobility?
Sharing information on disability issues. I've done it for 30 years on and off. It's my passion. I believe that if we include all people with disabilities, we'll have a stronger society, and that it's not difficult to include people with disabilities once you take the time to take a step back and understand their challenges. They realize that limitations are minimal and that differences are minimal and similarities are greater.
I agree. So the disability you have is what, Susan?
I have arthrogryposis.
Okay, and you've had this all your life, is that right?
Yes, I have. I haven't had a disability all my life, but it's just something that I've learned to cope with.
Yes, and very well. And Melissa, you are a home health aide, but you also have epilepsy.
Correct.
So you're dealing with that as well.
Yes.
Tell me more.
I mean, it's a challenge every day because there are some days that I can't feel some of my limbs, but the person I work with now, he's very considerate. There's days where we have to postpone things because he's not able to get out, or I can't do errands.
Okay.
So we try to schedule things on a workable day.
All right. Susan, you offer workshops, seminars, is that correct?
Yes, I'm doing programs, presentations. I kind of like to mix it up a little bit, and I'm doing a wheelchair basketball game at the Mix, where kids who love basketball more than anything in the world will be sitting in chairs and experiencing that it's a lot harder than what they expect. But I want them to understand disability, and this is a great way. I do programs and presentations in libraries or at workplaces, understanding challenges and showing a video, a professional video from New York, on 10 different tips for understanding people with challenges. And it's very entertaining and educational.
Yeah, it really is. Susan, you have these programs. Who are they for? Who should attend?
I feel like everybody should attend. I've talked and worked with people of all ages and disabilities. As a program specialist and a job coach and a job placement specialist, I work with people with intellectual challenges. But speaking with people, I speak with people without disabilities, adults and children, to help them understand, and I create different kind of ways for them to understand.
You also talk about 10 points. Let's get into some of those too, because I think that's really important when we're talking about how to act and respond, because those of us who don't sometimes have questions in how we should communicate.
It's important that people realize it's not rocket science. It's just being courteous and being logical. You know, introduce yourself when you come into a room, so you do that for anybody, but especially a person who's blind doesn't know that you're coming or leaving, so you introduce yourself. Looking at the person rather than looking at the dog if the person happens to have a visual disability.
Okay, all right, yes, I'm reading some of these here. Let's make sure we cover these, because while we have everybody watching, let's go over this. Offer to shake hands when you're introduced.
That's courtesy.
Okay, identifying yourself is always good too. If you offer assistance, wait until the offer is accepted or ask for instructions.
That's a really hard one, because it depends on the person. It depends on the moment. The person might want to be independent and do it themselves, or if they say no, they might have just had a bad day. So it's hard because people might take the response and generalize it, and it's different for everybody, and like I said, it varies.
Treat adults as adults. Now this seems really common sense, but please expound on that.
Treat adults as adults. That is such a common and typical statement, but it does not always happen. People with disabilities, especially when they're shorter, they are seen as a lesser of a person in some instances. And so until you get to know them, they might not be on the same level as you psychologically. And so you treat them, they get treated differently.
I think this is important too. Don't lean or hang on someone's wheelchair.
That's
What do we
another-
need to know?
That's another interesting comment because it's true in some ways. Certain people might not mind it. The wheelchair is a tool. So in some cases, the wheelchair is not my disability. It's not me. I am a person who happens to have a disability. But on the other hand, it is the boundary issue, and it does come into play when you're on a wheelchair. You're pretty close to the person.
Right. Listen attentively when talking with someone who may have difficulty speaking and wait for them to finish.
Listening is crucial for anybody as well. That's the best way to communicate, is to take your time and listen to what they're really saying rather than interrupting or coming right back with a comment. The person who's the smartest is the person who listens. And especially when a person has a speech impairment, their sounds might not be the words that they're intending to say.
Place yourself at eye level when speaking with someone in a wheelchair or on crutches.
That's where you get the person looks lower than you, so then you treat them lower than you. It's very important for a person to be at your location. You feel more of an equal to them.
Tap a person who has a hearing disability on the shoulder or wave your hand to get attention.
If you didn't know a person was around, would you want them to just sneak up on you? I don't think so.
Right.
So that's another comment.
And I think number
Etiquette.
10 is so important too. Relax. Don't be embarrassed if you happen to use other expressions, that might not be appropriate, right?
I ran late today. I mean, if you take that literally, I never ran in my life before. But that's a common courtesy. What is important is not to trip over your verbatims. What you say, your words are important. But on the other hand, don't let them scare you and keep you from speaking to a person with a challenge.
Okay, just because we may feel uncomfortable or someone may not feel comfortable, don't let that hold you back from trying, right?
Exactly.
What else do you want us to know, Melissa?
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are disabled, that want to work, that want to be accepted in society and not be stared at.
Yes.
They want to be included. Just walk up and say, hey, how are you? I'm the type that, hey, if I see somebody down and out, I'll walk up and say, hey, you look like you need a hug today. Would you like a hug today? Or, hey, look, you have a beautiful smile. I love your eyes.
Yeah.
It's better to be kind to one another than to be rude to one another.
I agree. Thank you so much for these thoughts. We're going to put information up on the screen where you can find out more about the programs that you offer, get any other information, and how to get a hold of you as well. We had talked to a few other people at an earlier session, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a break and we're going to be able to talk to them. But thank you so much for what you're sharing and all that you're doing, because we are more similar than we are different, and it is wonderful, our community, everybody included. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about persons with disabilities, and we're also talking about Infobility, which is a disability awareness program, and we are more alike than we're different. We're talking about the inclusion. With persons with disabilities, we were talking about physical, mental, and intellectual disabilities. We're grouping that all together. So joining Susan and myself, we have Francesco Gambino, and your manager of La Piazza restaurants in Lancaster and in Lidditz. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, Susan, how did you two meet?
Well, I was hungry one day for pizza, and I saw that there was a ramp in front of the building, so I decided to wheel inside. I had wanted to go to that location for a while.
Okay. So what happened when you went inside?
Well, I met Francesco, and he was very, very gracious and welcoming. Not overly, because that doesn't make me feel any better either.
Right.
Just, hello, and I can give you a menu.
Okay.
Sit over there.
Yes. So Susan has said some very nice things about you when she and I had talked before with your restaurant and how accommodating you are to all persons. And that is important, right, Francesco?
I mean, we all deserve to be treated fairly and accepted, and given the.
Yeah. And you make it accessible for persons with disability, like you're saying with the ramp, for the chair to come in. And I also hear too that you are wonderful with greeting people that come to your establishment. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
And is it you and your brother?
yes.
Okay. How long have you had the restaurant?
And the Liddit's about 14 years.
Okay.
Lancaster, I run Lancaster, so Lancaster about like 9 months. So that's
Okay.
fairly.
Oh, so it's
new.
fairly new. Okay.
Yes.
All right. How did you and your brother decide that you wanted to do these restaurants?
He graduated microbiology. I graduated biochemistry.
Uh-huh.
So we were both. I was on my way to dental. He was on his way for drug medical sales.
Sure.
Pharmaceutical sales. So in the meantime, because we were in the family business that is pizzeria, so we wanted to have something a little bit more challenging. So we decided to go with a sports bar in Lidditz.
Okay.
So that's it. And then from there, after a while, we decided to move on and go try Lancaster City. Same concept as Lidditz, just in Lancaster.
Well, that's great because it speaks of the success that you and your brother have had and working together too. How has that been working together with a sibling?
That's great.
See, that's good.
Yeah, me and my brother, we came here when we were 4. I was 4. My brother was 5.
Where did you come from?
From Italy.
Ah, okay.
So, and that's why I like to treat people. I like to be very fair with everybody because I know life can sometimes.
Yeah, give challenges. Yeah. And what you see, I can tell just from talking to you, the heart that you have and the inclusion that you have and the welcoming attitude that you have for people who come into your restaurant. Susan, knowing someone like Francesco and what he offers to the community, the inclusiveness is what you're talking about and what you're trying to do, right?
It's all about letting people with disabilities go wherever they want to go and be in the community. If they're hungry, they can go to a restaurant. They don't have to stay home and be catered to by their
Right.
mother or by an attendant or even cook alone.
Right.
They have the opportunity to go out. Now that there's ramps in front of so many restaurants, it makes it easier. Also, the bathrooms are really important. And
Yes.
even though it's mandated that they have bathrooms, Title III of public accommodations, a lot of places don't. And I'm not interested in suing everybody. I'm just interested in encouraging everybody to understand and giving them a little bit of knowledge that they
Yes.
might not have.
Right. And what I think is important today that we want to get across to, and we've said this before and we'll keep stressing it, people are people. And those who do not have disabilities, whether it's physical, mental, or intellectual, sometimes the uncomfortableness, the not knowing and understanding how to treat is what creates this division and this schism. And this is what we want to try to understand, how we can make a difference for you too.
That's what I'm told over and over, is that people are just afraid. I don't have their perspective no matter how much I try.
Right.
I don't even notice anybody staring anymore. I guess I still do, but
Right.
it would just make me feel less of a person if I was really noticing everybody's looking at me. But puts you on the spot.
It is sometimes understanding people that are different from ourselves because we kind of know ourselves, but we're trying to understand someone who may be different. But what you're trying to say too is just reach out, right?
I always think of the case of curb cuts. They're not just important to people in wheelchairs, but also parents with baby carriages. They would much rather take the baby in her carriage up the ramp, up the curb cut, than up a step. So the accommodations needed for people with physical disabilities anyway are universal for other people that are elderly that need the ramp as well.
That's right. And there are jobs for people and persons with disabilities too. And I know just from talking to you, Susan, your inspiration and your desire to be a part of the community is just wonderful. And what you have done and continue to do, had you not come up and talked to me, you and I would not be here today. And I applaud that effort, and I applaud your enthusiasm for making a difference, because you are making a difference.
Unfortunately, when I talk to people over the phone, it's a little bit of different reaction that they get, because they don't see any kind of inspiration. I don't think of it that way anyway. I just think of it as being a person and wanting to give back to the community.
Yep.
And I want people with challenges to be more willing to get out and be part of the community,
Yep.
go out in restaurants and churches.
And live life. Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Francesco, for being here. And Susan, this is a wonderful story that we're telling today. We're going to talk about employment opportunities, and we're going to have someone from Goodwill Industries with us, so stay with us. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about persons with disabilities and inclusion in our community, and a great place is with Goodwill Keystone area. And with us, joining Susan and myself, is Laura Amelia, and she's the Director of Employment Services with Goodwill. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Diane and Susan.
This is
Thank you.
wonderful. Goodwill does so much good work. Explain how it works and accomplishes.
Well, I think what most people don't know is that the mission of Goodwill is to assist individuals with barriers to employment to find employment in their community and be successful and be a part of their community. I mean, so that is our mission. Most people know about our stores and that they can donate and that they can shop and find some good finds. And our stores is the retail market that assists us by producing the funds to support our mission. And so we do that. And many people in the Lancaster area know that we also have a facility-based area where individuals with disabilities are often employed. So we are an employer in the community, and we what I've done for Goodwill for 27 years is that I've worked basically assisting people to find jobs in their community, and that's where I'm involved with Goodwill.
You can speak about the workforce. Tell me about the workforce.
Well, I think a little bit, Susan, some of the things that you had asked me to think about as part of this is that one of the things that we do when we assist people with disabilities to find jobs in the community is, first of all, we look at them as a person and what are their skills and abilities, their interests, their transferable skills. And then we start to look around their community to see what employers need and what would work for them. Transportation's often a big issue. But I think more importantly, one of the services that we do is we do job coaching. So when someone gets a job, we will go in and work side by side with them and assist the employer, because sometimes employers are fearful of the ADA and hiring someone because they don't know if they can fire them if they can't do the job. And sometimes that communication issue is a big issue. So being in there as a job coach, we could begin to help to actually show the employer and coworkers how to communicate and feel comfortable, along with helping that individual learn the job and feel comfortable also.
Goodwill is great in what they do, right, Susan?
Oh, sure. That's something I'm interested in doing, but from the other end, educating employers
Okay.
on a large scale.
All right.
Not having a specific person with a disability in mind, just educating them on disability issues.
And that's something that you do and you provide, correct, Susan?
Yes.
All right. So if we have someone who is an employer, and they're thinking, boy, I really don't know much about this, what can they do? Can they get a hold of you?
Sure, there's a number of ways I can help them. I can meet with them one-on-one. I can offer the video as a staff meeting and then schedule a meeting with them to talk to them one-on-one about accommodation, about all the benefits of hiring people with challenges. Yeah, there might be some accommodations needed, but you can get reimbursed for that in a lot of ways. And a lot of times the accommodations don't cost anything.
Right.
Putting a desk on bricks to make it higher doesn't cost anything.
Right. And you can provide this education to employers. What else do you want us to know that you can provide in helping to bridge?
Well, a fun thing I've done in the past activity is wheelchair basketball. I'm going to be doing that in the summer. I'm not exactly sure what venue,
Okay.
but it always interests the kids, gets them going, and they think, oh, sure, they can do it, no problem. And then they're in the wheelchair, and like, oh my God, what do I do? And then they're falling out. Working on wheels is a great experience too, where people who are more adult age sit in their chair and do their day and then talk about it. And it's not something that's impossible to do. You can work in a wheelchair. You just have to open the door differently to the bathroom. Maybe it's hard to reach the copy machine. That would have to be lowered. But there are a number of different opportunities and different activities I can do with people to raise their awareness and improve their understanding.
Yeah, we're going to put your website up on the screen. What are we going to find there, Susan?
Just a list of the programs that I can do, and encourage people to contact me and let me help them. And I work with them at their location at the time that's convenient to them. I'm not interested in having a big fancy conference because work time is money. So you're not going to miss a day of work unless it's a very, very big conference. And I don't want to alienate anybody and say, well, you can be fined if you don't make this accommodation. It's true that there are rules are a lot more stringent with the ADA and Title I. And even nowadays, the 7% of the workforce, if they receive federal money, should have people with disabilities on their staff. But I don't want to alienate anybody by bringing that up. That's not the first point, or even the point period.
Yeah, and we're going to put your website up on the screen too. What are we going to find there?
Oh, you'll find our success stories, and you'll find different services that we offer, because there's usually more to just going to work than going to work. You know, some individuals that are currently getting Social Security benefits still need to know how that's affected when they go to work, and that's a big life change for some people. You'll find the different locations that we are and where you can find our stores to donate. So it's a pretty large annual report, how many people we serve and the communities that we're in.
Thank you so much for all the good work that you do at Goodwill.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the good work that you are doing, Susan.
Thank you for promoting this program
And
educating people.
yes, that's what it's about. People are people, and it is inclusion, and we're all a part of our community. And when we work together, we can succeed and make things better.
Right.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and thank you for joining us today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, and remember, keep looking behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.